Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
And I'm Derek Lemaster, brothers and sisters.
Dear God. Just decided to rock the Fu Manchu.
Oh, yeah.
Derek,
Who does he
that
look
looks good
like?
on you.
Who does he look like?
Quincy's like, you look like you're 50. And she's like, you've got to shave that before one of our kids see you.
Like,
Right.
even
Man, I was
50-year-olds don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to have the RV goatee.
One day, you never know, one day. Oh,
I didn't know what to expect.
I didn't either. That's pretty special, though. You know who
It's
you remind
awesome.
me of? Ron Swanson.
There it is. Yeah, that's good. That's pretty good.
Okay.
It's just if it was just more of a mustache, but yeah, when you did that thing with your face, yeah, that's who it reminds me of. Yeah, the smile. There, that's the
Yeah,
Ron Swanson.
smile. Yes.
See it?
Yes. That's amazing.
Well, I plan it
Talk
that
about
way.
how much. Talk about how much you hate the federal government and how much you love steak.
There you go.
I mean, I do love steak. I will say that. The federal government could use some work.
I'm just here to gum up the works, Leslie. Parks and Rec is one of the best, isn't it?
So funny.
All right. So how are you guys doing this lovely evening? Drinking a coffee, I see, Lydia.
Yes, I have a dirty chai tea latte with cinnamon on top.
Can't go
That
wrong.
sounds really
Around.
delightful. I'm jealous.
I'm
had a protein.
so tired.
Are you?
Yes. So tired.
Yep, I feel
My
ya.
bedtime.
I came straight from a meeting. I went straight from work to a work meeting to here to record this. I saw Connor for 10 minutes before I came on here. Loved on him before I came up, and I was like, "Well, gotta go get the horror news." Lydia,
Dedication right there, brother.
do you have a rating for last week's film?
I don't. I was gonna ask you though. I'm curious what your guys' ratings were.
What was our rating, Derek?
I forget what movie it was.
Yeah, what the hell
The
did we do
Frighteners.
last week? The Frighteners. I think
I
we gave
remembered
it
I didn't even
7.5.
watch it.
Yeah, I think it was the Frighteners.
7.5, I think,
You gave
right?
a 7.5. I gave a 7.
Yep.
That sounds
7.2.
That
What would
sounds
you
about
give
right.
it? What do you
from
think
what
you
I
give
remember.
it, Lydia? What do you
I
remember?
think
of it?
I'd give it a 10. No.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty
yeah,
good. It was pretty good.
It's a really good, yeah.
I'd probably give it an 8.
Yeah,
If I was
that's what I would think you'd
usually
give
rate
it
a little
to.
bit higher than what you
Yeah,
guys
you
do,
go over the median of what we do.
depending. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while, so I should have watched it, but I was so sick last week. There was just nothing I
Ugh.
could do.
Yeah, it happens to the worst of us. Happened to me, too.
Yeah, it's like it just keeps coming. Like I keep getting sick and getting better and then getting sick again. Just exhausting.
I eat because I'm
You've been
unhappy.
sick.
And I'm unhappy because I eat. It's a vicious
Dude.
cycle.
I've started eating better, and let me tell you what, it's tough. It sucks. I don't like it.
Oh,
I just want to eat giant
You-
quantities of pizza.
Do you want to
feel that.
say your prayers and eat your vitamins?
Oh, yeah. Well, you also got to take the juice, brother. The orange juice. That's what I'm talking about.
So, guys, before we get into tonight's film, John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness, let's talk about a little thing I like to do called the horror news. And it goes a little bit like this. We don't have a lot. We only have 4 pieces of horror news. Slow news week. There's 5, technically. Marissa Barrera was interviewed recently about the whole Scream fiasco. And basically, she says she really doesn't want to talk about it too much, but she said she's definitely not leaving the horror genre behind, which is nice. So,
good.
you know, if they were smart, they would just go begging everybody to come back So they can make
Like,
another
we're
Scream.
sorry. We're
Might be
stupid.
too
What
late.
can we say?
Oh, I think it is too late. I think it is too late
Yeah.
without new people involved. I think it is too late. So, guys, this is really cool. David Soderbergh, the great David Soderbergh, has a new film coming out that's just been acquired by Neon. It is a ghost story called Presence.
Okay.
It's probably
It
going to be a
is-
gift.
In Presence, a family moves into a suburban house and becomes convinced they are not alone. A supernatural force has infiltrated the house and taken a specific interest in the couple's daughter. The film is written by David Koepp, and who wrote a little film called Jurassic Park. Not a big deal. And it stars Lucy Liu, Chris Sullivan, Kalina Lang, Julia Fox, Eddie Mede, and Wes Mulholland. I haven't seen Lucy Liu in a while. That'd be nice to see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of this?
Yes, you know I love a ghost story.
Yeah, I love ghost stories. Dude, did I tell you guys this? That Clark keeps bringing it up, man. He's like, Dad, something told me to shh in my bedroom. And I'm like, uh-huh. I mean, he's brought it up a couple of times. Like, it's probably your vent.
Maybe. Or it was
He's
you
5,
on the monitor telling him to shh.
He doesn't have a monitor anymore, unfortunately, because sometimes I want to be like, Clark, quit it.
You know, my brother has a monitor in my nephew's room and Ryder, his room. And I remember going over there one day, and he had to take a nap. So Zachary made him take a nap, and he was all upset. He was in there crying about having to take a nap. And he's laying in his thing, and Zachary has a baby monitor up. And he got up in his bedroom and started to walk around. And Zachary, so he's like, talked on the microphone, Ryder, Gene, get back to bed. And he's like, oh! He runs and jumps into the bed, right? And he starts to cry, falls asleep. Zachary's like, he'll fall asleep in 5 minutes. And he did. Well, when he woke up, I went to go get him. You know, I was like, okay, I'll he's been in there enough, buddy. I can go get him because I'm a softie. So I went in there to get him. He looks at me and he's like, Daddy watching me. And he points to the camera. Daddy's watching me. It cracked me up. I was like, I know, man. I was there. I saw it.
Clark,
He's like, I didn't
Clark
forget
said
about
something
that.
like that. The first time that like we talked to him through that and told him to like lay down, and he was like, when we went to wake him up, he was like, that talked to me. It talked to me. He didn't know it was us, but yeah.
Ryder knew
It
it
scared
was
the
Zachary.
bejesus out of him. Yeah.
Ryder knew because he's had it, but it was the fact that he knew his dad was watching him. So when I came in to get him out of bed, he's like, don't! Daddy's watching.
Aw, that's so cute.
It was silly.
That would
So
be hard
this-
to wrap your head around as a kid, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to, when Connor gets older, I'm going to be like, this is the Lord. or
Darth Vader.
Or Simba. All right, this is interesting. John Boyega, better known as Finn in the Star Wars prequels, is starring in a new in the Star Wars sequels. He's starring in a prequel here of the Denzel Washington film, The Book of Eli. There is a series coming out that he's going to star in as a prequel to. Do you guys remember The Book
wow.
of Eli?
I never
Yeah.
saw that. I've heard a lot about it.
What do you think, Derek?
About that movie or about that news?
Both.
I mean, the movie was okay. It, I could see where they would want to do a series. I mean, that world, seemed like there was a lot to explore, so it'll probably be pretty good.
Yeah, the original writer, Gary Whitta, is on board for the TV series as well. It's takes
It's a long way
place
to go.
30 years. This takes place 30 years prior to the events of the first film. So it would be put around the time of the nuclear event and its immediate aftermath. Interesting. Got some sad news here. David MG, who played Flyboy in George A. Romero's seminal classic Dawn of the Dead, has passed away at the age of 77. He is a local Indiana boy, born in
Really?
Evansville. Yeah. Evansville, Indiana. And that's where he passed
Interesting.
away as well. So, that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
That is
He'll
interesting.
be remembered forever because, he has one of the all-time best zombie performances, right? I mean, when he gets possessed and he's carrying, has the gun all out and he's just like walking around. It's like an all-timer. An
Yeah.
all-timer. We got to do Dawn of the Dead. We haven't done that one yet. We have to get to that
I
one.
was just thinking that too. Yeah.
I think we've only done Night, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot to catch up on. There's like fucking 47. There's not. There's like 6, but still. There's a lot that we haven't got
It
to.
feels like a lot. Yeah.
And finally, guys, this is some cool news and big news. We have a cast picture of the cast of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Now, this is a cast picture before production, so it's not like in costumes or anything. But look at this beautiful cast here. Look at that. There's Oscar Isaac, Christoph Waltz. Look at this. Mia Goth.
There we
There's
go.
Guillermo being a smiley bastard in the back. I don't know what this is, but Charles Dance right there. Yeah, looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited for this, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how cool is it going to be to see a Guillermo Frankenstein movie?
Oh my gosh, guys. Oh my gosh.
I was just thinking about Pinocchio and how like amazing even that was. Just because everything Guillermo touches is magic, you know?
Pinocchio.
Yeah, the Netflix, or I think it was Netflix, right? The wooden Pinocchio, the stop motion one, is Guillermo.
I have not seen that.
That's really good, really good. It's stop motion animation. It's pretty awesome.
That is right up my alley.
Yeah, it is. Of course, it is. It's everything. It's stop motion. It's Pinocchio. It's Guillermo. There's nothing else that you want. All right, guys. let me write this down.
So don't forget.
So, there's actually this. I'll tell you about it later. Never mind. So, guys, it's time to delve into the world of Sutter Kane as we unwrap John Carpenter's 1994 flick, In the Mouth of Madness, written by Michael DeLuca, produced by John Carpenter's wife, Sandy King, and released by New Line Cinema. So, have you guys... Is this your guys' first watch with this thing?
Yes.
Have you ever even heard of Mouth of Madness?
I've heard of it like from
Might
you
have heard of
mentioning it.
Well, yeah, I mean, besides from me talking about it, because it's a John Carpenter movie and I am a disciple of the Lord. So...
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever I've heard of this movie outside of you telling me about it.
You guys have never even seen a trailer for it. I remember
Nope.
specifically seeing the trailer for this. So this isn't my first watch, but it might as well have been almost like a pseudo first watch, because I haven't seen this thing. It's my least watched John Carpenter movie, just because I didn't own it until last year on Blu-ray, and I couldn't find it. You know what I mean? So the last time I watched this guy before I bought it, and I hadn't had a chance to... This is the first time I watched my Blu-ray copy of it. Last time I watched it was on old VHS. And I remember two things about it. I remember the trailer, because I was watching, I think it was actually The Mangler. When I rented that, this trailer was on there, because it came out around the same time. So this trailer was on there, and I was like, ooh, look, there's Dr. Grant from Jurassic Park. And it's John Carpenter. And I was like, ooh, John Carpenter. I know that name. You know, as a little kid, I was like, I know that name. I knew who the fuck that is. And
Yes.
then, because the trailer shows the scene where they're in the with Charlton Heston. The Charlton Heston scene is a big part of the trailer. Him, because it's like kind of kind of exposition. Like, we need you to find Sutter Kane, blah blah, and then it just shows flashes of weird shit, and then he's like, bah! I remember that, and then the other thing I remembered about this movie that I will never ever forget, and nobody will ever forget, is the fucking opening music.
As soon as it kicked in, I was like, oh, no wonder Jamie likes this movie.
It
Yeah.
rips, right? It's so good.
It sounds
Wow,
very
wow,
much like
now.
Metallica to me.
That's because it was completely influenced by Metallica.
Yeah.
So John Carpenter wanted Inner Sandman to be the intro to this movie. He wanted that to be the intro to the song. Here's Inner Sandman, and it blew his fucking balls off, and he's like, I want that for Mouth of Madness.
That's
And
awesome.
they couldn't get the rights to work out, so instead he's like, let's do a track that is similar. Let's do something that sounds like Inner Sandman. So they wrote that kick-ass like guitar riff that opens and closes the movie. And when it kicks in, I was like, the movie started, and because on the menu it plays it too, but then it kicks in with the with the music and everything and the credits. I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Fucking rules. I'm in. Sucked me right into that. I forgot about how great that is. I knew it ruled, but I forgot how much. The music all around is good in this movie. It's John Carpenter, so that always gets high marks in the music department because motherfucker doesn't miss. He doesn't miss when it comes to music. You know those memes where it shows like it says here's this, like it shows a musician and it's like I need you to compose this, and it shows like a piano on fire. That's what John Carpenter always is. It's like, hey, I need a score for this movie. And he's like, no problem. Sure. I need to buy the soundtrack, by the way, guys. It's going to be in my vinyl collection, for sure.
I'll keep my
All
eyes
right.
peeled.
Yes. Where do you guys want to start with this one? Hey, let me be Derek. I think we should start where it always begins, in the beginning. You're muted, by the way,
Oh.
Hulk Hogan.
Double.
Oh.
That was like a double burn,
got
wasn't
him. Yeah.
I just felt like clear my throat with the microphone on. It's a good place to start. So,
actually, for this one, it is a good place to start because
All right.
it kind of like sets
because you
up.
start at the end. and you go
Yeah.
back
You do
to the
start at
beginning.
the end. The end is
Yes.
the beginning. It's the beginning and the end. It's all one. So yeah, what'd you guys think of this opening when it's your first watch? What were you guys thinking? You see Sam Neill like freaking in a straitjacket, being carted into this facility. What are you guys' thoughts going on?
I really liked it. I was in it. I was like, okay, how did he get here? Like, what's going on? What's happening? Like, it definitely got
intrigue.
me interested. Yeah.
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 And it's very funny too. There's a lot of very funny like dark comedy in here. Like when he's like, "Sorry about the balls. It was a lucky shot."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tone was like, I was kind of confused about the tone of this movie, but because you had like bits like that, but it was also like very dark and serious at times.
Oh, it's a mind trip. This movie's a mind trip for sure. And
Yeah.
that's what we're gonna break
You know-
down and get into it.
Yeah, this movie, not that I have ever done this, but if I ever do, this is the movie I'm going to probably watch. But, like, man, if you were, like, tripping hard, this would be the movie to watch. Because you wouldn't know what the flip was going on.
No, you
You know what
kind
I
of
mean?
don't when
Like-
you're sober.
Yeah, that's what I
To a
was about
degree,
to say.
yeah. 'Cause this
Yeah,
movie
so
was a lot of things, man. It was
It is. Yeah.
obvious, not to, like, we'll just dive into it. This movie was a play on, like, religion. It was a play on, like, where humanity places, like, if enough people believe in something, like,
It's
that
a
can
love
become
letter
a
to
reality type.
It's a love letter to Lovecraft.
100%. It was a love letter to Lovecraft. 100%. Even the creatures seemed to be inspired
Lovecraftian.
by him.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you kind of didn't know what was going on. Like for most of this movie, I did
It
not
is the
know
madness.
if it was like a character in a book realizing that he is a character in a book, or if it was a
Well,
real life character who just went crazy. But you know what I mean? Like
let's-
it was.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
let's put a pin in that because we will discuss that at length here in a minute. But first, I want to get into like our characters and our setting. So John Trent is our lead, played by Sam Neill, and he's a lot of fun in this movie. What do you guys think of him as Trent?
He's good.
I think he did good. I had to look
Pretty
it
much
up, and I was
everything
like, I cannot believe this movie came out after Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
It's so wild.
yeah,
This movie
I
has
think he's
a
really
lot
good.
of really good actors in it too.
Yeah, well, Charles,
got
like
John
I said
Glover.
earlier, yep,
Charles Heston.
Charlton Heston just fucking pops up
Or
for
Charlton,
two
yeah.
scenes. You're like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Jurgen Prochnow, who is great in like everything he's in. I always remembering for Beverly Hills Cop 2 and Air Force One, right? I mean, he's in Das Boot too, which is amazing. But those two movies, I always never forget him in Air Force One, especially as like that freaking general that they're trying to free. Yeah. But he plays Sutter Kane, and he's great. The woman that plays Childs, Julie Carmen, is really good. Yeah, and then David Warner pops up as the doctor, who's interviewing John Trent, and we get into our backstory. So, what were you guys thinking when David Warner pops up in the insane asylum, and he goes to see Trent, and Trent is covered in crosses all over his room and all over his face?
This part got me because at first I was like, that's kind of silly and kind of funny, and then he kind of like explains like a little bit. You get like hints of like that he doesn't want to be let out anymore, and he's like, you know, like I'm safer in here actually, so I'm just gonna like really dive into
Let you
this
up the crazy.
craziness. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, because there's a mania that's going on around the world where people are going
Right.
crazy, so you might be better off being confined in a
Yeah.
facility. That,
And we don't know that at this point.
no, you
we
get
know
hints
nothing.
of it because
Yeah.
they're dropping a couple of things, and they say even in this scene, like, oh, it's getting bad out there.
Yeah.
Oh dang.
Is he
Yeah,
one
see,
of
I guess
them?
I didn't.
He says.
I didn't pick up on it because I was just like, "What's going
Well-
on?" You know, like what's his deal? Because I had no
David-
idea what this movie was about.
Yeah, well, that's the best way to approach this movie, is not knowing anything. David Warner's character sees that Trent is different than all the other patients because he is not, like, mad crazy. It's more like he's
Yeah.
just kind of, he's driven mad, but he's not, like, unhinged like all the other people are. And he also feels like he knows more than he's letting on, so that's when we get our flashback story. And we meet him as, like, kind of a... this is a reference that you probably won't understand, but he's like the Edward G. Robinson in Double Indemnity. He's like the insurance adjuster guru that catches all the scams. He's like the scam finder. We see the great Peter Jason at the beginning trying to scam out, this warehouse that burnt down, and he's like, well, your wife was wearing some of the stuff, and your mistress was wearing some of the stuff. Maybe don't, if you're going to have your wife as a partner, maybe don't screw around behind her back. Like, and he
What
thinks
did you
everyone
guys
has an
think
angle.
of his accent?
His accent starts off kind of like he's trying to do kind of an Americanish, but then by like the midpoint, he's just doing an English, like his regular accent throughout the movie. Yeah. Yeah, he
There's
just
a
pulls his
guy
regular
that
accent.
I listen to sometimes when I'm working. I'll like put something on in the background, and he like reads stories, and he sounds a lot like that guy that I listen to in this. Like, it is kind of a a departure from what his like actual accent is. You're right.
It's
Lydia.
a mid-Atlantic
It's hard to
accent
place.
almost.
Yeah.
Because it's not quite. It's like kind of the Cary Grant accent, the mid-Atlantic 50s
like
accent.
rich-
Yeah,
rich
the
accent.
posh accent that they used to do. So Cary Grant is British, but he had a mid-Atlantic accent, so that way he could be both American so he just kind of talked like this, uppity. It looked like a fucking $1 million because Cary Grant's probably the most handsome human being to ever live, in my opinion. I mean, Jesus, what a movie star, right?
What are you talking about, man?
Derek looks like he just fucking crawled out of Pawn Stars.
Or American Chopper.
Yeah, that's a good one too, Derek.
Got himself.
Start yelling and act like you're throwing a chair, and then you'll
I don't want to see that shit in here.
Perfect.
Oh my
That was good. That was good. Now I need you to say the best I can do is $3.
No. maybe I'll throw it. I'll sprinkle it in.
Man. Best I can
wish
do
I
is
would've
3
recorded.
broken crayons and a pencil.
I wish I would have gotten Quincy's reaction because part of it was like just downright like, you better. I am your
disgust?
husband. You realize that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I have a choice to be here. I'd watch it if I were you.
Classic. So yeah, our setup is that there's this horror novelist who's like bigger than Stephen King, named Sutter Kane, who writes horror novels in the vein of King, also in the vein of Lovecraft. All of his like books are like nods to Lovecraft. All the titles are, and he's been missing. And there's one book that he wrote maybe posthumously called "In the Mouth of Madness." So they hire Trent to find him. So what do you guys think of the scene where the old crazy guy with the axe appears across the street?
This was giving me X-Files vibes.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
It was the first hint at kind of what is revealed later because it was so targeted. It wasn't random. It wasn't like he was looking around like, where am I going to go?
Mm-hmm.
He had purpose. He knew exactly where he was going to go. And he even says, like, I see, or he sees you, or something like that.
He said, do you
And
read...
it was
Yeah.
like, okay.
He says, do you read Sutter Kane?
Yeah.
He's like, I see you. Yeah. And, Trent's just, like, confused. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I think it's a great scene, a really terrific, like, kind of tension-filled scene. Because you just see him in the background approaching. He just keeps coming. I think that's pretty cool, the way it's shot. It's Carpenter magic there. So, of course, she goes on the thing with him. But before they go into their lamb, I want to talk about Trent's... when he starts to read the book. He starts to read some of Kane's work and has that weird vision. What do you guys think of this vision? Like, after he sees the cop the first time, then he sees him again.
Was that all a dream?
Well, we'll get
or was
into that.
one of them real?
We'll get into that at the end here. But what do you think of, like, the makeup design and the scene itself?
Oh, the makeup was pretty good. And the scene
Yeah, he
was
looks creepy.
great because the first time he ignores the situation. And then he eventually...
And the cop yells at him.
Yeah. And each time, like, he gets a little closer, like, the guy gets worse and worse looking.
Yeah. And he becomes, like, this monster-looking guy. And, he's like, you're next or whatever, and looking all creepy, and it's, like, all shot like a dream-like. Then he wakes up, and then that guy's, like, right beside him. And he wakes up again. And he's like, so these books are... So here's where you start to ask your questions, right? Are these books starting to affect his mind already?
You know, the first thing that came to mind when I watching this movie, I was like, not that you could. I don't know if you could or do this or not. It's more like visual, but like, it almost felt like there was subliminal messaging in the books. You know what I mean? Just kind of the way that it naturally progressed as he read more and more. Anyway.
Yeah, he
That's where
started to
my
go
mind
more and
went.
more. He started to lose a little bit of a grip on reality, which he gains before he goes off and finds, hey, I figured out where he's going. There's a map here with the page covers that's leading me directly to him. And there's a Hobbs End. It's a real town. So then, this whole middle section here, we get a bunch of just creepy, otherworldly, weird scenes. Which one do you guys want to talk about first? I want to talk about the bicycle guy.
Yeah,
The
that was
boy,
freaky.
old man, it,
Yeah.
whatever. It kind of
What
looked
do you guys-
like okay, do you remember He-Man the movie?
Yeah.
The old boy man thing kind of looked like one of the creatures from the He-Man movie. Remember that?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, the one with the fuzzy hair.
Uh-huh.
Well, I really like this scene because it's like really just creepy and weird. You don't know what the
It's
hell's
trippy.
going on.
It really is trippy.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact
I like
that it's
too.
happening. Yeah, go ahead, Lydia.
I like that it's surreal, and I like how John Carpenter plays with like the car lights and everything like that. Like I love when you see him like disappearing in the like brake light kind of like the
Yeah, that's a
red
great
tail
shot.
lights.
Yeah. And when
Like
he's the
that
boy.
just
and,
adds
yeah.
to that kind of nightmarish feeling of it, of just like and
Yeah,
and
because-
just being like tired while you're driving is like one of the when you're in one of those states
Oh my
of like
gosh.
anything could happen kind of you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly. And I like how they pull up by him. She sees him and passes him. We get that brake light shot. And then he comes from the other way as a really old thing. And it's like he's like just, looping. And he says he won't. So she ends up hitting him. And they go out. They get out of the car to help him. And he's like, he won't let me leave. Is what he says to her. He won't let me leave. And then Trent goes to get a blanket out of the car and
Blanket, yeah.
trying to make a phone call. And when he comes back, she's looking down, and the guy just appears behind her. It's so creepy. The look on his face just appears behind her, and chee and rides off. I was like, oh, no, fuck that.
Yeah, his eyes are like white.
Yeah, and wide. Yeah, he's like, and he's like,
You know,
oh.
and it
Go
gives
ahead.
some credence to like, because a lot of this movie he's like, this isn't real, and it's, this can't be real, but it gave some credence to like what's happening, because it wasn't him, he was asleep, so it was Linda who was driving, who's the editor and who has read every single one of these books, and she's even read parts of the new one.
I think, she's read most of, but not the ending of In the Mouth of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
Only her and the agent, which we find out is the guy with the axe that tried to kill him, are the only two people that read In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a fun scene. Really cool. And then when she's driving and, basically floats
Yeah.
over, I love that image, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Over, the
That's
bridge,
so strange. I love the idea of that. Like, that would be, yeah. That's so weird.
Yeah, because it's nighttime.
The bridge, like, boards just kind of, like, appear.
Yeah, because it's nighttime and we just get that glow underneath, and then the bridge boards appear, and then it's daytime. And she's, looking around like, what just happened? And Trent wakes up, he's like, oh, I slept all night? And she's like, you drive. Fuck this, you drive. Okay, so we get to the hotel area with fucking Billy Madison, or with, Happy Gilmore's grandma.
Yeah.
That's where I know her from. I was like, I
yeah.
know that lady.
You sure do. Could you trouble me for a glass of warm milk? Trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up.
I used to say that to my grandma all the time.
Dude, you're Ben Stiller from fucking Happy Gilmore. That's who you are right now. You will go to sleep, or I will put you to
Or
sleep.
I will put you to sleep.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Does he have a Fu Manchu in that?
Yeah,
yes,
he does.
yes. Full Fu Manchu.
Yeah, he does.
Little sidebar for a second here. My favorite scene with Ben Stiller, there's two. That's a good one, but I like when he says, "Oh, your fingers hurt? Well, now your back's gonna hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty." That line cracks me up. And then when he just appears, when she's talking to Happy, and he goes to her, and kills me. I'm like, Ben Stiller's the best at being such a douchebag.
She is like the sweetest lady in the world.
Yes.
Like, and she's just like, oh.
Oh my!
I can't believe that happened.
That's perfect.
Derek.
Oh my god.
Oh no, I'm gonna cry. It's making me cry again.
Ugh.
I cannot believe that, Derek. What are the chances?
I planned it, Lydia, from the
That's
onset.
magic.
Look.
That's magic.
He's also White Goodman.
I am. I'm missing a little thing. Maybe I'll grow that
The little
out for next
underneath,
time.
yeah. No one makes me bleed my own blood.
I said
Michelle.
that yesterday.
Classic. Now that we went on our
I
Ben
think I
Stiller
said that
appreciation
during
kick.
this movie.
Yeah. Really?
I said that like during this movie. Like, so what? There was a line in this movie that made me say that. What was
Now,
it? Wait,
those
was it this
are
movie?
that was our
It might have been
Ben
put
Stiller. That was our Ben Stiller appreciation segment. In the middle of this Mouth of Madness review.
That was magical.
But
Derek just happened to have a Fu Manchu. during
yeah,
that
it's
episode.
perfect actually. So, what are your thoughts on the grandma scenes in this movie?
I love them.
I do
Personally,
too, 'cause
I
I-
like that.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Lydia,
she
finish.
looks
I'm
so
sorry.
sweet. No, you're okay. You're okay. She looks
She
so
always does.
sweet, and then she like progressively also like looks worse as it goes on. Like, it was, yeah.
Well,
And
because
she's
she was
amazing.
like, Linda was like,
More
oh,
and more
you know,
haggard.
that lady chops up her husband, and he's like, what? No, she's so lovely.
Yeah,
Oh
he's like,
man, that's
see,
the story I got to tell you guys at the end of this. Remind
Okay.
me, you're
chopping
you're
up
lovely.
somebody. Oh,
No.
okay.
Remind
I
me
was
that
like,
you're lovely.
fucking scaring me. Okay. Yeah, it's crazy because like he says, you know, she's like she shares the name with the woman at the hotel because this is the hotel that he describes in this book. He's like, yeah, but that sweet old lady couldn't hurt a fly. And if this was like the book, there would be an ivory or a black peaked church over here. She's like, actually, it's over here, and there it is. What do you guys think of that church scene?
church
that's
looks
weird.
Pretty cool. I
It's
mean, it's
really
just
cool. I think-
cementing the fact that they are in a story now.
Yeah. I like this church scene a lot. I think it's really cool because it's again otherworldly, you know,
Yeah.
with the slow motion dogs. And guys, did you notice that the dad of the child is fucking Vigo?
Yes. Yes.
That's who it was. I was like, man, that guy looks so familiar.
It's fucking
I could
Vigo.
not place it.
It's Vigo.
It is. It's
Jake-
Vigo. Yeah, no, you're
Jake
100%
said-
right.
Jake said Ghostbusters, and I said 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the end of the conversation. And he just he looked at me like, yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Wow,
That's it.
I did not catch that until just now.
Yeah, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, I forgot fucking Vigo was in this. That's all I know him as is Vigo. Ah,
That guy's
Vigo.
got such a recognizable face.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, especially because in that movie you stare at it like really hard.
Yeah, for like almost the entire runtime, with Vigo's face.
I am Vigo, the scourge of Carpathia.
The voice was Max von Sydow, is the voice of Vigo. But that guy is Vigo's face.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. I'm just full of pointless little fucking trivia nuggets like that. But anyway, so it's pretty cool. Right? Derek's like, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
It's helpful
appreciate
that
them.
me and Derek don't have to look it all up,
That's true.
Whatever. Sometimes he blows my mind. Like with the whole Halloween 5 has like 12 endings.
Halloween 6
6.
has
Who knew
2
that?
endings, but that's all right.
2, 12, they're one off.
So I
think
love
about it.
the image of the church door closing on the boy, and then we meet Sutter Kane for the first time, and he's just standing there like a creep ass, and he just
Yeah.
like
First off.
leaves.
Talk about, I didn't think you could get a more, like, crazy face than Vigo's face, and then it shows him, and I was like, ah! Because I know you mentioned him, that you've seen him in other movies, but I have never seen him in anything. And I
Oh
was
man,
like, whoa, that guy's got a face.
yeah, he's got a very interesting face. It's a very unique face.
You know what
Yeah.
really
And hair, the hair.
got me? And
You got that
not
90s
really got me.
poodle.
Yes, he does. Very 90s haircut. So I don't know why I love the character name Sutter Kane. Like I
Oh, it's
don't
a
know, it just-
great-
it sounds
Great character name.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Great character name. Yeah, it's a wonderful one.
And
one of
it's
the
like,
best.
almost like, you can see it on a book, too. Like, it's just perfect.
Yeah,
book
it's
name.
like perfect. It's like how perfect was Wes Craven's name for a horror director? Wes Craven, It's like, oh, he had to change his name. Nope, that's just his fucking name. How perfect.
Yep.
But Sutter Kane, perfect name. Yeah. And it's very memorable name. Very memorable name. And so, guys, let's talk about after all this madness starts to go down, because she immediately starts to, she goes to the church herself to, she has to check it out. And Trent's wanting the fuck out of here because he's like, this is all a scam. This is a scam put on by you guys. And she admits that part of it was a scam. That Sutter Kane
Supposed to be.
disappearing was supposed to be part of a publicity stunt. And then he actually disappeared. And they were never supposed to find a real town, but it existed. And so, and she's like, Sutter Kane's creating all this. And he's like, you're crazy. This is reality. Right here. You're mad. She decides to run off without him and go to the church. And while she's out, he sees the old woman again. And she's got her husband handcuffed to her on the floor naked. What do you guys... What were
To
you
her
thinking?
ankle.
Yeah.
And then she kicks him a
Yep.
couple of times.
Yeah.
And she's got, like, black eyeliner on.
Yeah, underneath, and then the picture behind her has changed multiple times to be real creepy. And Sarah was watching this with me off and on. She was coming in and out. She was working and stuff, and she saw that, and she was like, "Ugh!" She came in the room and saw that. She's like, "Ugh! Like, what the fuck are you watching?" Then she comes in like a few scenes later after she's done working, and she sits down and goes, "Okay, so what's going on?" I said, No.
Yeah.
No.
This is
I
not
can't
the
explain that to
movie.
you. This is not the movie for that. She's like, well, is he missing? I was like, Sarah, you're just going to have to sit here and watch it and have no context. Won't matter. Just sit here and watch it. There's no
Will
way
not matter.
I'm explaining to you what the hell just happened. Because so much
true.
happens.
It's
Hey,
true.
I cannot tell you how many times me and Jake rewound this movie. We're like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah. So when she visits Kane, and he explains to her that the ancient ones are giving him the gift to write this stuff, and that people are going crazy for it, and he has his magnum opus, which is to bring about the end for humanity, so the ancient ones can be brought back to our world. Is basically the plot. That's what's happening.
It actually reminded me of a scene from Game of Thrones when Viserys is kind of explaining that, like, power resides where people believe power resides. So, like, the fact that he's selling more books than Stephen King, like, the lore, and the more that people know it and then start to believe it, it reinforces the existence of these. It like gives them power over this
Right.
this realm to break through and come back because they were here before.
Yeah, so they were here before, and they're just these ancient beings. It's very Lovecraftian. Just the ancient ones. The old gods. The old, the ancient ones. And, dude, when he's got, like, one of those ancient ones out of the back of his head, that's creepy as fuck.
Oh, and she's, like, kissing him and, like,
Yeah. I was like, ugh.
All right,
Like, don't
Voldemort,
like that.
get back in your...
Yeah.
Dude,
Sash or
Voldemort
whatever it
meets
was.
Pumpkinhead.
it's like freaking
Yeah, it really was.
Gabriel.
Meets Gabriel.
Yeah, Gabriel .1. Proto-Gabe. That's what he is, Proto-Gabe.
Don't get me started, guys. Don't get me started.
Don't get Derek started.
Picture it.
know.
A post-apocalyptic world.
Well, that's what we get at the end of this one.
Yeah.
There you
So,
go.
Perfect, actually.
yeah.
If the church was a windmill,
Yeah,
or what was it? A tower, or what was it? Was it a windmill or a phone? What am I thinking of? Halloween,
Phone booth?
right? No, like a tower,
Oh, radio tower.
radio tower. That's what
Radio
it was.
tower. That's it. That's where Gabriel goes. Because we were promised that the radio tower would be very significant, and then it was not.
Yeah.
We were also promised Michael Myers was going to be in that fucking movie, so you never can. You never can tell.
It's true. It's true.
So, guys, when he sees her in the fucking basement, the old lady, talk to me. Talk to me
Oh,
about
with all
it.
her tentacles and the axe
all
and
her
like
tentac-
chopping up her husband.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wild, right?
They told us it was coming.
Yeah, wild though. She looked so crazy, like freaking all the tentacles out of her. I was like, oh. And then his reaction, he's like, leaves, and he's like, I gotta get upstairs and get her. And then he sees like the tentacles underneath the door and shit, which is a
Yeah.
great shot, by the way. It's really cool. And then we just get a cut of him getting thrown out of the hotel room, and he's like, gotta keep going.
Yeah. And it's like we kind of saw like that as like like one of those flash like memories that was happening.
Mhm.
So like
Yeah.
we had already seen those things at one point
Yes.
and we didn't
Yeah.
have any like, context. for them.
Context. Exactly. Just quick images.
It's just like another reason why this movie just messes with your head. You're just like, wait, what?
What?
Okay,
is
I
going
saw
on?
that somewhere before.
So
Yeah.
when Vigo, shoots himself, Vigo offs himself, and he says his scene's actually very important because he says, "I don't know which came first, us or the book." And then he says, he's like, "Don't do it," when he's going to shoot himself, and he says, "I have to. That's the way he wrote me."
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
He didn't
Trent's
have
just
a
like,
choice.
yeah, Trent's like, what is going on? And we get this. I love this car scene where he keeps trying to leave, but keeps coming back to the same spot. Because I love the way it's shot with the road like getting like red, and we see like the lights on him, and then it just flashes, and he's right back there.
Yep.
What do you guys think of this bit?
He turned around too many times. I would have ran right through those mofos.
Yeah, I would have too. But it's a great image, I think.
Yeah.
It is a
I
really
like
cool image.
I like the bit. I just don't like the flashing personally.
Oh, well, the flashing gets a little intense. It gets a little
Yeah.
intense at one point, but not talking about the flashing. I'm talking about when the road turns red.
I
And
know.
we see
I know
that-
what you meant. That's why I said
Yeah.
I was like I love the bit. I love the idea
Yeah.
of it, the
Yeah.
whole thing. It looks great. It's minus
Yeah.
the flashing for me.
It's a lot of
but-
flashing. Yeah, a lot of flashing, but it's
Felt like it was Mardi Gras.
yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, there were so many flashings. It's a good one.
Sorry.
Derek, you're a different person with this facial hair.
You're way more wild. I want to see you take your shirt off and
Yeah.
drink a beer next. Can you imagine? Pulling a fucking Jason Kelsey.
Yep.
So, what do you guys think of when she, like, turns her head all around and walks like a fucking weirdo?
Oh,
I don't
man,
know how
first thing
I
I
feel
thought
about
of
that.
was The Thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of
Like-
very...
Like,
Yeah.
paying tribute to it.
Yeah, I like how he's just like... She does it, and he's just like, I'm leaving your fucking ass in the car.
Yeah.
I'm leaving your...
Yeah, I
I'm
think-
gone.
This scene should have been a lot scarier, is
Yeah,
how
it
I
could have
feel
been.
about it.
It
I
could have
think
been...
Yeah.
I think it's
It
let
was
down
lacking
by...
something.
Well, I think it's let down by the budget, really, is I think what... Because the effect looks pretty cool, but it's not as... You can tell it's fake, so it doesn't land like the Thing lands, because the Thing looks real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie was made on a $7 million budget. They did all of this
Yeah,
for $7
and
million,
it has
which is
the best-
insane.
It has all of the best special effects makeup artists working
Yeah.
on it, so
I know.
luckily.
It's crazy. Yeah, it has
So
K
it
and B.
didn't- we'd be-
K and
That's,
B doing
that's
their shit.
connections right there.
Yeah. That's because they're
That's,
like, John
hey,
Carpenter?
John.
Yep.
We're friends. We'll
I'm
give you
in.
a deal.
So this kind of turning point of the third act here, this turning point into the third act, when he is confronted by Sutter Kane. What do you guys think of their confrontation? Their little, like, there's, he meets him in the confessional booth
Oh,
and
okay,
explains all of it, like,
Everything. Yeah.
everything, that you're a character that I'm writing, You only exist because I created you, and I'm like God now. I create everything. Everything that I write is now, and I finished the book, here's the transcript. The manuscript is yours, go deliver it into the real world. And he's like, I won't do it. And he said, well, you will, because I wrote you to do it. So go. It's so mind trippy, right? Because you're like, okay. And what's going on? And then he tells her to leave with him, and she's like, I can't, I'm written to stay. But I love that image of the torn page when he rips himself, and it's just a torn page. Like, that's a surreal, crazy
Yeah.
bit.
Where he like rips his face.
Yeah, and then it's like
Yeah.
the just a ripped page, and then he stares off into the abyss, and she's reading the manuscript and narrating what's
Yeah.
happening. It's so cool, right?
Well, and so this might be a great time to circle back to that discussion. So, is he a character in a book always, or has there been a transition? You know what I mean? Like, he went into this like pocket reality, and now he's coming back because he's being let
So,
out.
There's a
essentially,
good
'cause
argument.
Everybody
for,
else is trapped.
There's a good argument for both, but I think personally, and it'll tie into the end of the actual movie. I think personally he was always a fictional character, and he's finally starting to realize that he's a fictional character. That he was
Is he
written
breaking the fourth wall.
he was written into reality by Sutter Kane, because he slowly starts to go mad when he gets. There's a bunch of really cool stuff when he's on his journey back to the real world. Like, I really like the scene where he's on the bus, and Sutter Kane tells him that his favorite color is blue, and when he wakes up, the whole film is blue color graded. Is really like nightmarish and cool. And then he slowly starts to just go like he gets shipped the manuscript, and then he burns it. And then when he's talking to Charlton Heston, he's like, "Oh no, you gave me that manuscript months ago.
Yeah.
You handed it to me, and the book's been out for 7 weeks." And it's like, he doesn't know what to do. Like, he's just, you're going mad with him, because you're like, we watched his journey. What are you talking about? But I think what ties it in is, yes, the very end, when he sees himself in the movie theater, right?
Well, and it's his actor's self. Isn't the
Yeah.
Doesn't the poster say, because it's the poster says that directed by.
It says directed by John Carpenter, but it says
John
starring John
Carpenter?
Trent. It says
It does
starring
say-
John
okay,
Trent.
I thought it said. Yeah.
No, it doesn't say Sam Neill because it's not breaking the fourth wall as he's Sam Neill. It's showing him all of the events that he just lived, scene by scene, shot by shot, how we watched it. So he's realizing that he is a work of fiction. And then that's why he starts laughing hysterically and crying at the end because he breaks. He realizes that his whole life has been, it didn't exist. He's not real. He is fiction, and he's brought forth this apocalypse because that's how he was written. Because at the end, basically, nothing's left except for a few stragglers. People are going crazy, starting to turn into those like weird demon things, the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just, he's just floating there. And there's a bit where Kane appears in the cell. Do you remember this? Early in the movie, he appears in the cell and he says, "This is a horrible way to end it." And he said, "This isn't the ending."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he writes him the ending. What are your guys' thoughts?
Is this John Carpenter, in your opinion, is this John Carpenter's attempt at like a high art type horror film?
No, I mean, it's the script that was written. I think it's his attempt at Lovecraft. It's his attempt at creating a Lovecraftian story, which that's what Lovecraft deals in, right? Is madness and reality and insanity, right? It's living on the edge of sanity, in the mountains of madness. You know what I mean? Which is why the title's taken from. Instead of at the mountains of madness, we get in the mouth of madness. So, yeah. What are your interpretations? What are you guys thinking about John Trent? Because to me, he's clearly a fictional character. His name is John Trent. John, insert name here. Insurance adjuster, skeptic. Yeah, skeptic.
He's such a character, is what you're saying. Like he's the definitive character in a
horror lead. Yeah, a book character, especially like a Stephen King style story, right?
Yeah. Super meta. Let's see.
Yeah, it's super super meta.
Could you imagine having memories of a life that wasn't yours?
Yeah.
And realizing that you're
somebody else's creation?
Like being on the Truman Show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where everything is fake. I mean, he had at least free will in that, but he has no free will.
Even to the point of the writer doesn't even actually seem like he has free will if there are these beings
to the story, because they're telling him what to write,
yeah. Or at least they're giving him the power, because he says in the movie, "I used to think that I made all this stuff up, and then I realized that they were the ones feeding this to me." Mm-hmm. So now the real question becomes, did we just watch a movie of the book, or did we watch what happened to the real reality in John Trent's world, right? Were we experiencing the adventure of a fictional character, or what? Because there's a point where he tells Charlton Heston that, the reason because nobody remembers Styles. And he said, well, the woman you said that I sent with you, he said, well, Kane wrote her out. And he's like, so now he sounds crazy. But we went on this journey with him, so we saw these things. So it leaves you your head spinning. What is up, what is down, What's the real truth here? Because I think the only interpretation is that he is. I think the most accurate, not only, of course, movies are open to interpretation of all kinds, but I think the most accurate interpretation of the filmmakers, at least, is that John Trent is a fictional character brought into the real world to end it, essentially.
Yeah.
Because he's the only one that really wasn't completely affected by In the Mouth of Madness. granted, he didn't read the whole thing, but maybe he wasn't affected. She just looked at it and went crazy. Remember? Styles.
Well, and so yeah, and so the epidemic that's occurring like gradually started, and it was like going through each book, right? So each book got pushed everybody a little more over the edge. She was the editor, so it took her a while. So
yeah, but it
I
only
just took
affected
it as
certain people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I took it as she probably has a great aptitude for these. You know what I mean? Like she can resist that to a certain degree. I mean, it also just could have been that she was written that way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He also could have written. Well, I think that's the case because she says later in the movie when they're in the car, she says, "I'm going to kiss you now," and he goes, "Why?" And she said, "Because Trent wants me to. It's good for the book."
Mm.
Yeah. It's good for the story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck is going on? And that's right before her head turns around, I think. That's right before she becomes like the weird head thing.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you. Holy cow.
I can edit that out.
Yeah, leave it in.
But there's a lot of ways to look at the movie. That's what I kind of like about it, there's some meat on the bone to think. After this movie was over last night, I did some deep diving into it, actually. After I watched it, I went on and looked about what other people thought. What are other people's interpretation of this? Because I got the interpretation I had. And then I read some things that kind of solidified my stance on it. And then I read some other stuff that people wrote that, like he went mad after reading the book, so the rest of the movie was all in his head. I was like, I don't think that holds water. I don't think that's true at all. I don't think that's the case.
If that were the case, it would have ended with him in the insane asylum instead of him wandering around an apocalyptic world and then watching himself on film.
Yeah,
so I agree with you. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because it wouldn't make any sense because logically the rest of the story couldn't have progressed if he was just imagining it all in his head. So, yeah, that is In the Mouth of Madness. John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. What are your guys' thoughts? What are you thinking? What are you feeling in your soul?
I feel mad.
This movie was a different. It felt like a different movie. That doesn't make any sense to you.
Yeah, it's different than other movies.
It was not what I was expecting. For sure. I don't know. It's one of those movies that really you have to think about it. You know what I mean? And the more you think about it, the better the movie is. If you go into the movie and you just watch it for what it is, and you just don't put any thought into the purpose for specific scenes and things, it's super easy to just watch this movie and be like, man, that was just some random shit that they threw together and put into a movie. But the more you think about it, the deeper you go. I think that enhances the experience.
Yeah,
I agree. What would you give this one, Derek?
Man, that's a hard one to rate. You know what? I always go first. I'm going to let somebody else go first. I want you guys to go first.
Lydia, you want to go first?
I don't think I'm going to give it a very high score, as I usually like to hand out 10s. I don't think I'm going to go that high with this one.
You do you, boo.
Yeah, I don't know. This one was definitely different, Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, like Derek just said, it really helps to, talk it through, try to figure out, because now I have a better understanding of what I just saw. So that's helpful. And that makes me like it a little bit more because I really was like I said, we rewound several scenes 2 or 3 times just to figure out some of these things that were going on. But I think I'm gonna give it a 6. Definitely not my favorite John Carpenter movie. I mean, that's a high standard.
What do you think, Derek?
like I said, it's a hard. You know what it kind of reminds me of? Not that it's the same movie, but like I went to the movies and I saw Arrival, and you walk out of the movie and you just hear like people talking and they're like, "Man, that movie was so like it didn't make any sense." And I'm like, "Well, you really weren't paying attention, or you didn't understand like what was happening." This movie is
it's a
easily
meditation
like
on
that.
childbirth.
I mean, yeah, but you have to like really think about this movie. That's why I say like it was an attempt at high art. Or, I'm gonna go a little higher than Lydia. I'm gonna say a 7. And this movie would be totally worth a rewatch. Because like the first time, I only watched it one time. Because the first time you watch it, you're just like getting all of it at once. I think it would actually probably play better the second time, because you have a baseline of what's going on, and you can like really focus in on specific things. You know what I mean? I'm gonna watch this movie again, and but yeah, I'm gonna go with a 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8. I think it's really good. I think it's maybe too heady for some people, but I think it's very like atmospheric. It's it has like this great atmosphere of like madness and paranoia, and I mean, this is John Carpenter calls this the third of his trilogy of apocalyptic movies, his apocalypse trilogy. It's The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness. And I like this story about just us following somebody who doesn't know who they are. They think they do, but then they find out that they're... Can you imagine just your world being pulled out from under you by somebody saying, by the way, everything you think and feel and believe is not real, because it's all what I think and what I feel and what I believe you should feel, think, or believe. So I...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, I like that a lot, and I think the score rips. I think the characters are good. I think there's some good scares, but it's mostly just the tone in the journey. I really like the tone, especially the 90s. They don't make movies like this anymore. The 90s mid-budget studio horror film. I mean, this is one of the last gasps of that era, and like it's like, you know, like movies like Needful Things, which is a Stephen King novel turned movie, Misery, and then the more like supernaturally ones like this. They just don't make them anymore, and it's kind of unfortunate, because it's like an adult horror film, and I kind of dig it for that. It's definitely different. It's not John Carpenter's best movie. I mean, that's Halloween, but it's not. It's good though. I like it. It's the master doing his shit.
Word.
I had something to say, and then I just kind of...
I know you. I paused because you were going to say something.
Yes.
You didn't.
I have to say, I really like that you like this movie so much, and I feel like my rating is a little low because of just like the experience I had tonight watching it, while also looking after this puppy who will not stop getting into everything. So it was like just kind of chaos, and like it's one of those things where it's like if you're in a bad, you know, mindset. I wish I could have watched this one with just no distractions and all lights off, you know, like just theater quality watch, but that might have taken just some of my
I watched it
away.
I watched it with Connor on my lap for part of it. He was asleep on my lap while I was watching The Mouth of Madness. But, you know, what are you going to do? You have to do what you got to do when you have an infant, man. You got to get him in when you can. So...
Well, no, I was just going to say, you wait till you have a 2-year-old with hands and a defiant nature about them.
Connor has hands, Derek.
No, dude, Ellie has been testing it.
He's not like this.
His fingers haven't developed yet.
Oh, he does. The other day, I hadn't clipped his fingernails. They'd gotten a little long since the last time we did it, and he grabbed my nose and about scratched that motherfucker right off.
Yep.
He looked up at me, I'm holding him, and he just goes, and I was like, ah! What are you doing? And then today,
That's
before I
happened
came
more
up,
than once.
he likes to like grab my ear and stuff and play with my beard, and I let him do that. Well, then today, right before I came up, he just grabbed a handful of my beard and yanked it. I was like, don't do that! That's the worst. Good God. Good
Well, I
heavens,
was getting
son.
bit the entire movie, so.
That's also fun.
With those needle puppy teeth.
Those can get you.
Yep.
So guys, it's time to Akinize in the Mouth of Madness. Who would Tom Atkins be?
Oh man, he could be so many.
John
Yeah.
Trent.
He would be an excellent John Trent, though. I like Sam Neill, but God, can you imagine?
Yeah, this movie would be a 10 if it was. if he
Yeah,
was-
I mean, John Trent. I agree with you, Lydia. What do you think, Derek?
I do think Sam Neill did a really good job, but I agree. I think that he would have played a dynamite John Trent.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah. So, that was an easy one. That was one of the easiest one we did. We're like, the main character! Let's move on. I mean, Sam Neill, I do think Sam Neill did a really great job in this, especially the scenes where he's starting to go mad. Like, I really enjoy when he, the bit where he is standing outside of the bookstore, and the guy says, he's like, you read Sutter Kane? And he's like, yeah, and he's got, like, blood on his eyes. And he goes, good, you know what's coming. And he pulls out the axe and, like, fucking axes him. He's just so crazy and like, out of his head at that moment. I love his performance. I'm like, yikes.
Yeah, that was a good moment. I liked that too.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, god dang. This movie's wild. All right, guys. Whose turn is it to pick? It's yours,
That's what it
Lydia.
is.
Yeah, I think it's mine.
What are we watching next week?
I was writing down movies the entire time doing this because I'm like, what are we gonna pick? Oh man, this is a tough one because I don't really have one that I'm like set on, you know.
Yeah.
All the ones that I have like written down are like not even close to like, you know, like they're like all completely different, so it's really hard to...
Well, you know.
How many do you have written down?
I have 6.
All right, Derek, pick a number between 1 and 6.
That's more or less where I was
Yeah.
gonna go, but that's up to Lydia if she wants to go that
Yeah,
route.
we could try it. We could try it.
Let's go 3.
Puppet Master.
Yeah, Puppet Master 4.
Was it? Are we on 4 or 5?
Oh, I
It's
think so.
4. I think it's 4.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
Jamie's
Good
like,
God.
I just
Thanks a
happened
lot,
to write
Derek.
that one down.
Derek, why'd you
Yep,
pick
we're
3,
on
you
Puppet
son of a
Master's
bitch?
4.
The next,
you know,
the next
it
one
felt-
on the list.
Felt good.
Yeah, the next one on the list would have been Hellraiser.
See, we haven't hit those up yet. Should have did
I
that.
know.
We've done
Marking
3
it down.
Puppet
Puppet
Masters.
Master 4.
Where can we
Is it
find
for-
Puppet
we-
Master 4?
Okay, because we definitely did 1 and 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Was
3 was the best one so far,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked
I think.
2.
right?
I liked 2. I think in my memory, I liked 2 the best.
2B.
Because
So-
that's the one with the.
It's on
It
Tubi.
is on Tubi. Yep, sure is on Tubi.
Okay,
Puppet
cool.
Master. Let me see here. So yeah,
Puppet Master
Ma-
4. The Demon.
yeah, we definitely haven't watched that one yet.
Oh no! Hopefully it's good.
I'm gonna say probably not. Yeah, number 3 is the one I like the most, which is
Yeah.
the Toulon's Revenge, the one that's in World War II, right?
Yeah,
That's my
that was
favorite.
pretty alright.
Yeah,
I liked
that's the
2
best.
though because it was so goofy.
2 is fucking weird.
Um,
We get those weird, like, fucking man-sized puppets at the end.
Humans.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
That's why it's
One
my
is-
favorite.
1 is one of the most boring fucking pieces of shits that we ever watched. With fucking
Whatever, it's got
Beethoven
my-
hair as our fucking lead. Remember that?
You guys-
Beethoven
you
hair?
guys-
Yeah.
If you guys saw the rest of my list, they're all like really good movies.
Derek, you bastard. Oh, I should have picked it. I should have picked the number.
I should have had you pick and you pick. That way I could have chose between your two numbers.
Yeah, good thinking. That's what we should have done. Puppet Master 1 has Beethoven hair as the hero,
Yes.
and also has the psychic that knows where people fuck.
Yeah.
That's her fucking gift.
My favorite superpower.
Somebody fucked on this table. I can feel it. You're like, what are you talking about?
And it's got the stuffed dog from the Lost Boys.
Yes,
Remember
it
when
does.
I put those together?
Yep. And it also has one of the most. It's super bloodless and super. All the kills are off screen, and has one of the most boring climaxes of all time. We were like, ugh. And then 2, we were like, this is wild. Then 3, we were like, this is fucking fun.
Yeah.
So hopefully
like,
4.
okay, this is good.
The demon. Hopefully part 4. The demon is where it's at. I guess we'll find out. Oh man. Yeah, it is. It's gonna be interesting. It looks like the cover art is cool. So we'll see. Charles Band returns. He wrote this one, of course, like he always does, and it's directed by Jeff Burr. It is Puppet Master 4. Derek, tell us the story about lovely people.
Okay. I'm pretty. I don't think I've told this on the podcast. Jamie, I've told you about this. I also wrote it down. So so we went to we did a little vacation. It was me, Quincy, and when Clark was little, and we didn't have Ellie yet. So like we went and
you did tell this story on the podcast.
Are you sure?
Yep.
About the old lady?
Yep. At the restaurant.
Yeah, well, at
The
the
waitress?
like the hotel lobby area, like the
Yep.
commons where you eat.
The waitress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. You told that one.
Wow.
About
Lady, you know what I'm
the
talking
I don't
the
remember.
woman.
All right, then I'll
The
just
woman-
retell it. It's fine.
Okay,
It's fine,
but
I'll
the
just retell
viewers have heard it, so you can tell her again, and
It
then we'll
was
have to pick
so
a new story.
long ago. I don't know another story, but this is really
Don't
fun.
remember
It's
it either.
hilarious because I was super dad and saved the day. That's what happened. So we go downstairs and we're like eating breakfast, and like these old ladies are just like flocking around Clark because he's this cute little kid, and the lady is like, oh, you know, you like this, and she like brings him something, and he was like, oh yeah, and she's talking, and she's having such a good time, and Clark goes, can you go back to the kitchen? And the lady who was like partially paying attention, she goes, oh, what'd you say, honey? And I step in and I'm like, he said you were lovely. And she was like, oh, he did? She went and made him a little goodie basket, like with fruit and all kinds of stuff, and brought it back. It made her day that she thought that my son said that to her.
Aww.
And really he just told her to get back to the kitchen.
Can you leave?
Yeah, can you get out of here?
Tired of you guys loving all over me.
It was adorable.
Yep. 100%
He
told
says
that
those
story.
things sometimes. You know, it's worth saying again. It's adorable.
I don't remember it though, for the record.
I tell you the
I
time we
do.
buried my brother in a pile of dirt.
No, this is a new one.
Yep. Yeah, you know, it was me and my cousin and my brother, and I think it was Jay's idea. He's like, hey guys, like we see in the movies, there's this pile of dirt in our backyard. He's like, hey guys, why don't you guys bury me in this pile of dirt and see if I can get out of it? I'm like,
Okay.
okay. So like we dig a little hole and we pile the dirt on, and Jay's like, all right guys, I'm stuck, help me. We had went night crawler hunting like the night before,
Oh,
maybe a
no.
couple nights ago. So we had this big bucket of worms,
No.
and I'm like, Jay is stuck in the dirt and can't get out. This is
And we
the
have a
perfect-
bucket of worms.
Perfect opportunity. So I go and get that bucket and I dump it all over him, and I tell you what, I'm glad I'm faster than he is, because he did get out of that dirt.
Yeah, I bet he did it after with
He
that.
was highly motivated. He got out of that dirt and chased me down the alley.
Oh.
He could not catch me. I was lightning.
Like the white lightning, you were gone.
And he was wormy.
How much
my
did Jay weigh at
God.
this time? Just so we get a perspective of.
I mean,
How
so
long
we
ago?
were kids.
Oh, okay. So,
he
you
was
were kids.
probably
Okay.
like, well, he was probably like 12 or 13 and weighed like 300, 350.
Oh wow, he was a big boy even then, huh?
Yeah, he would. He was really big, man. I will find a picture. Maybe if I can find a picture, I'll put it right here. But man, when he would like squint, it looked like he was asleep. Because you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean,
my friend Nick. We all know Nick. Bass player in my band, and one of my best friends grew up with him. Nick has like almond-shaped eyes, so like he looks like he's of Asian descent. He's not 100%. He's not. He's like both his mom and his dad are Caucasian people, but he just has these almond-shaped eyes. So people always used to ask him that. That's what made me think of it. But Nick, when we were in grade school, used to have or when we were in high school, used to have a dirt stash. Like he just never shaved this MFR. He just never shaved this motherfucker off. It just always this dirt stash. And we would tease him about it, be like, Nick, you should shave that dirt stash, and he would never do it. He's like, no, man, because he thought it like made him look older, I guess, but it made him look like he fucking had a dirt stash. So we had to do this play. It wasn't like a regular play, but for the drama department, we were in the drama department. I was president actually because I'm a cool guy. We had to do this thing for like the class of 1940 something, and it was like a reunion of theirs. So Strat wrote this whole little skit out for us, this play, and he made me the lead of this thing, and we had different people come here, and we had like the names of all the people. We were making little jokes about him, like there was a guy named Fletcher, we called him a lech, stuff like that. So before we get to do it, I called Nick, and I said, hey, did Strat talk to you? He said, no, what? I said, oh man, he wanted me to tell you, he maybe forgot, he wanted me to tell you that you need to shave your mustache. And he's like, what, for real? I said, yeah, because people back in the teens in the 1940s didn't used to have facial hair, you see. So he thinks you should shave your mustache for the performance. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah. So we show up, and we did it like the Knights of Columbus or some shit like that. We show up at the Knights of Columbus. Nick walks in, bald lip, completely baby-faced. And Strat goes, oh, looks like somebody shaved. That's my Strat. He sounds nothing like that. That's how we always imagine him sounding. Ma, looks like somebody shaved. I hope he watches this and he's like, I don't sound a thing like that. But he said that somebody shaved, and Nick goes, yeah, because of you. He's like, what are you talking about? And he
Busted.
looks over at me, and I'm over in the corner like, got him to shave his dirt stash. The rest of my friends lost it. They loved this. They're like, you're a fucking evil genius. I was like, I know.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Then a little bit later, like maybe a
Doesn't
year.
he have a giant beard now?
Now he has a beard, yeah. A couple years,
It's not just
maybe
like a
year or
beard.
so-
It's like a giant beard.
a couple years later, or maybe a year or so later, around the same time, we were doing an episode. We used to have a talk show called The Nightly Show that we used to host and put on. It was like a late night talk show. And we had a bit where Nick was supposed to be Saddam Hussein in a bunker, right? And so he looked just like, because we used a Sharpie, and we drew this deep mustache on him. We had this hat that looked like it was a Saddam Hussein hat. So he's sitting there, we filmed the skit, and Nick goes to wash off the marker, but it's fucking permanent. So in order to get it off, he had to shave his dirt stash again. Got him twice.
You are so proud of that.
Nick loves that. He still, We still talk about that to this day.
That's
He's
probably
like,
why he has a gigantic beard now. He's
Well,
just like
he's-
is traumatized from that.
Yeah, well, he hated the way he looked clean shaven. He always said he looked like a child, and I was like, well, without it, you look. I don't want to say what you look like. You look terrible with a dirt stash. And that's tonight's shows, guys. I hope you enjoyed these stories. Our breakdown of In the Mouth of Madness. Tell me what you think of it. Is John Trent a character in a book? Was he always a character in the book? Give us your thoughts on the movie. We really want to hear them. Tune in next week when we'll be doing the old Puppet Master 4, The Demon. That subtitle is fucking top notch.
The best part is you can't even blame me for this one.
I blame who I always blame when we watch bad movies.
How
always
could,
only one.
wait. How could you blame me? I didn't really
You
pick
picked
this
it.
movie. I picked a number.
No, but you
That's
picked
true.
it though.
I'm
You
going to
could've
give
picked a
half
different
blames to
number.
both. Who knows? This one might be the best Puppet Master yet. We'll find out next week. It is available on Tubi. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below on John Trent and on your favorite movie that we haven't reviewed yet. We'll do it. We have some more movie news coming up in the next episode. We'll be releasing some casting people and stuff like that. Because the movie's chugging along, and we're about to film in T-minus 2 months, something like that. Or 3 months. 3 months.
Three.
3 months. So, you can follow us at HiLaProductions.com. You can follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. Follow each of us on our Twitter page. You can follow Lydia at Lydia Spooky, Derek at DDogly Master, and me at Racket. We will see you next week for Puppet Master 4. So for Derek LeMaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. And remember, folks, if you're going to scream bloody movies.